We can now bring in our international affairs editor, Angela Diffley. Angela, great to see you. Tell us about this attempt by politicians from other parties to block the far right, and will it work?
It looks, according to the polls and the predictions, much less likely that the Rassemblement National, the far right, will get an absolute majority, but it is not impossible. And a relative majority still looks probable. That's looking at the predictions and what people have said in polls around the new scenario since all these people have pulled out. The reason why it might not work, there are a number of reasons. One is that for many people, the Front National, the Rassemblement National, is not a particular danger. For other people, it is perhaps a danger, but not as much of a danger as a coalition which appears very incoherent, with a major component made up of the far left. What would economic policy look like under such a government? What would law and order policy look like under such a government? Who would be the prime minister of such a government? Many people can't get their heads around what that simply might look like. And they are also worried about the fact that any such government made up of people from the mainstream right across to the far left will inevitably be unstable and probably collapse. And that in itself is a danger to France. So there's a lot of worry around that. There are also people who are angry at what they see as political manoeuvring. Politicians who have decided that they will pull out and leave voters with a smaller choice. Now, to an extent, that's always happened, but this is a very major concerted effort. But some people saying this is a denial of democracy. In round one of this election, however you look at it, well over 50% of the French people voted for some right-wing politician. And it is conceivable that they might end up with a government made up of a few on the right and mostly on the left. And many people say that's a denial of democracy. There are others that say you can look at this the other way round. You can say that well over 50% of people do not want the Rassemblement National to have a majority government in France. So those are the obstacles. We do not know how voters will decide in the privacy of the ballot box what they will do, whether they will heed all this or whether they will vote differently.
Let's talk about the far right, Jordan Bardella, because if we thought Gabriel Attal was young, he'll be even younger if he does become this country's prime minister. And he gave an interview detailing what his government would look like if the far right was given an absolute majority.
Yeah, this was also a little bit about taking back the initiative. You know, having had a good night on Sunday, all of the spotlight has been on how to stop the Rassemblement National, and they have somewhat lost the initiative this week. So this was about getting back in the spotlight and also saying very clearly, here I am, I will be the Prime Minister. You have no idea who will be the Prime Minister if this incoherent coalition is the alternative. You know what you're getting with me. Now, many people might decide that a 28-year-old is too inexperienced and not an option they want to go for. But he is very clear, this is the Prime Minister you will get. And he also made some comments about finance, again, probably designed to reassure people who worry about the far right on the economy. He said we will have a minister for the economy and finance, and we will have a separate ministry for growth. He was also asked about the prospective education minister who got into a big row about the Rassemblement National policy on dual nationality. They then had to row back. He said there is no question of this man Trudeau becoming our education minister. But this was very much about optics, saying we are ready, we are organised, we know what we would do if we are given the privilege of running a government.